Good morning. We had some really high winds last night, and I just got out of the shower and I looked outside, and a tree branch came down on my chicken coop. So we're gonna head outside. I'm doing all my talking now because it's still really windy and I don't know. I haven't really experimented with my new microphone in the wind. I don't know what it's gonna sound like. So let's go outside and see if there's any damage. Let's make sure that the girls are okay. I think they are, but probably gave them a good, startled them pretty good last night, I bet. So let's go see what's going on. Yeah, it doesn't look to me like there's really any damage, but it probably scared them pretty good. Good morning, girls. We okay? Did we survive? Hi, babies. Are we doing okay? Hi, girls. Let's get you guys some treats. Poor things. That was probably so scary. One, two, three, 4, 5. Okay, we got them all. Are you guys traumatized? Hopefully they don't need therapy. All right, you guys, today we are finishing up my massive preservation day. We have 3 recipes that we're gonna focus on today. The first one being a butternut squash, a roasted butternut squash soup. We're also going to can some apple preserves with the leftover apples from my apple preserving video. And we are also going to make Cheesecake Factory copycat maple roasted Brussels sprouts with bacon. Tom and I got these when we went out to eat and they were so good. So we're gonna try and recreate those. I'm doing a voiceover for this video because Tom actually surprised me and came home the night before. I had said that I was going to be home alone that evening into the next morning, Friday night into Saturday morning. Tom surprised me and came home pretty late, 1 a.m., and joined me in the bed. It was very nice. However, he really never gets to sleep in. He works 6 days a week, and so when I got up and I was ready to tackle the rest of these projects, I decided to be nice and quiet, and I didn't want to talk because I really, really wanted to let him sleep as late as he wanted to sleep. So that is why I'm doing a voiceover. Here you just see me cutting up the butternut squash that I got from the farmer's market. So I'm just going to cut this into little chunks, 1-2-inch chunks. The smaller you chop the ingredients, the easier they're going to be to blend when it comes to that step. I added 2 apples to this soup for sweetness, and it was really good. I recommend doing that. I also chopped 2 carrots, and as you'll see later on in the video, I definitely should have cut these into smaller pieces. Of all the ingredients that I added to this pan to go into the oven, the carrots took the longest to roast. I chopped up 1 large onion. And I have 8 cloves of garlic here, and I just left those whole. Here I have some rosemary that I got out of the garden, and I'm just showing you that I removed the leaves from the stem because it's a lot easier to do it now versus when you take it out of the oven and it's hot.
I might change my mind on that, but I am so in love with the silver slushion that I don't feel like I need it. I just think it does so well. It doesn't get bitter.
And I have it all on my aluminum foil lined baking sheet, and I'm just sprinkling some cayenne pepper to taste, whatever you want to do. And we are also going to drizzle some olive oil over top of everything.
They're hot to me. I don't like super spicy stuff, and nobody in my family really likes
Into the 350-degree preheated oven.
about tomato variety. Right here in front of me, I have.
And we are going to set a timer for 1 hour. We're going to let everything roast for 1 hour.
That's a lot.
While that's roasting, we're going to start thinking about our apple preserves. So here you see me peeling the apples. We used 6 large apples for this. It probably wouldn't have hurt for me to add a 7th. The recipe comes out of the Ball Blue Book, and it does say 6 to 7, and after doing this, I think 7 probably would have been fine. I did use my little apple corer and slicer there to do this. The Ball Book says to actually slice, like have slices of apple. I really didn't feel like doing that, so I didn't, but I will say that I should have cut these into smaller pieces instead of keeping them the way that I did, because I had to go in while I was cooking them with my wooden spoon and kind of try and chop them into smaller pieces in the pan. So that was kind of a pain. So if you do it this way versus the slices, try to chop them into smaller pieces. Would have been easier. Now I'm juicing half a lemon, and I did reserve the other half lemon for something else. There you see that other half, and you want to thinly slice your other half of your lemon, which was difficult, as you can see. We're going to add 1 cup of water to the apples that I have put in my saucepan, that same saucepan that we used in the last video. And I'm adding in the lemon juice. We're going to get that on the stove. We're going to bring that up to a nice heat, let that simmer. I've got my lids, and I've got my water bath canner coming up to temperature. 24 minutes left on the soup. Now we're adding 6 tablespoons of Ball Classic pectin, or if you buy the box, it's 1 whole packet. Bring that mixture up to a boil over medium-high heat and stir it constantly. Add in your lemon slices. So yummy. Keep that nice and stirred. Now we're going to add in 4 cups of sugar, and you're going to add the spices that you want. I added cinnamon and nutmeg, but you could add just nutmeg, just cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, whatever you want. And I added about 2 teaspoons altogether. And now we're ready to ladle it up. So I've got 6 sterilized half-pint jars here, and I'm just going to fill those up. Look at how delicious. We're going to clean those rooms really well with a damp paper towel because they were sticky from all the sugar. We're ready to add our lids and our bands fingertip tight. And now we're ready to load up the canner. And we are going to process these half-pint jars for 10 minutes. Once it comes up to a rolling boil, I'll set a timer. All right, coming back to the soup. So that has been roasting, and now I'm just putting everything into that same saucepan that I had rinsed after the apples. You may notice I'm leaving the carrots and cutting them in half. We're gonna put those back in the oven. They were not roasted well enough for me to be able to blend them. While those carrots are roasting further, I went ahead and started thinking about my Brussels sprouts. This is kind of fun. I had never cut Brussels sprouts off of a stalk like this before. It was definitely a learning experience. I thought maybe it might be easier to try and like break them off or snap them off versus trying to cut them, but it really wasn't. I'm giving them a nice rinse. Those are chicken scraps that you're seeing there on the side. And I'm gonna put them into a Tupperware container with a lid. I'm adding a hefty amount of maple syrup. And I also made the executive decision to add some balsamic glaze that I had in my cupboard. And by the way, that was a good move. So if you have that on hand, add it. And some butter. And I'm actually gonna store this in the fridge until later in the day because I wanna make this for dinner. And what you're seeing now was pretty early in the morning. Okay, so the carrots are done. I've added that to the saucepan that's been just hanging out with the rest of our roasted veggies. And now I'm going to add vegetable stock. Now, here I have vegetable stock that I froze in ice cube trays. Anytime I have leftover stock and I'm not ready to use it, instead of letting it just go bad in the fridge, I pour it into ice cube trays and freeze it. Little spoiler alert, I added them a few cubes at a time. I ended up using that entire bag. The recipe that I used offline asked for 3.5 cups of vegetable stock, and I'd say I about used that. Now here I'm using my immersion blender to try and get this blended up. Guys, if you have a nice blender, use it for this soup. These ingredients were hearty and thick, and it took a lot of time and a lot of muscle to get this blended up the way I wanted it. Actually, it was really frustrating me. It was a huge pain in the butt. It took a very long time. I really want a Vitamix blender. Someday I'll have enough extra money to add that to the homestead. In the meantime, I'm just gonna struggle with what I have. I thought I was recording, but I was not. So what you're seeing that I added in was a pretty decent, I'd say like 1/4 a cup, maybe 1/2 a cup of honey. And I added even more later on. It really helped me thin up the soup, and it added a delicious, delicious sweetness. So I recommend, if you make this, add honey. And now I'm just scooping it into some Tupperware containers. So I had quite a bit of leftover apple preserve after I filled my 6 half-pint jars, and then Tom was up at this point, so I made pancakes and drowned it in the apple preserves, and my goodness was it delicious. Now it's later in the day. We're gonna revisit the Brussels sprouts. I'm gonna put them on a aluminum foil lined baking sheet, and I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees. I'm layering some bacon on top of these Brussels sprouts, and I did it this way because I really wanted the Brussels sprouts to roast with that bacon grease kind of smothered in it, and it was so, so good. I will say though that in the time it took me to roast the Brussels sprouts, the bacon became a little overdone, so next time I might add the bacon over top of the Brussels sprouts halfway through. And I roasted them, I think, about 25 minutes, I wanna say. And here they are. Guys, my mouth is watering as I'm editing this. Oh, they were so good. A complete success. I recommend these. Tom and I both loved them.
All right, you guys, we are all done. We finally finished all of these projects. I don't want to say I bit off more than I could chew because I really don't feel like I did. We completed everything that we set out to complete. However, this was definitely like the most preserving I've done at one time ever in my whole life. And I'm really proud of that. These kinds of challenging tasks are what help you grow in your skills, and I'd even say in your endurance, because, you know, did I complete everything in one day like I wanted to? No, but we did get it all done in a weekend. And as I improve and get better at this kind of stuff and I'm able to create a more efficient workflow, and I start to memorize recipes and don't have to reference the recipe so many times, yada yada, it'll become faster and easier, and I'll be able to get more done in a day. So I'm not being too hard on myself about how long it took me to do it. It's just the fact that we did it, you know? These projects are done. This food's gonna go up on my pantry shelves, and we can eat on this over the winter time, and that's something to be really proud of, and I am proud of it. So I'm really excited. I tried everything that we made. Sorry, my dishwasher's running. I tried everything that we made. There's nothing here that disappointed me. Everything was so delicious. Everything has its place and recipes that it can go along with, and I'm just really stoked to have this food on my pantry shelf. So I just want to quickly recap. I've got zucchini relish, pepper onion relish, vinegared red onions, basil garlic tomato sauce, banana peppers, apple preserves, and butternut squash soup. The butternut squash soup did not end up serving the purpose that I thought it would, and that's okay. I want to talk to you about that a little bit. I had originally planned on making this soup, which actually I've got more of it than that. I've got this as well. So there's quite a bit of butternut squash soup here. There's, I'd say, 5 servings, 5 good-sized servings, maybe more. And I had originally planned on using my food saver to vacuum seal these and have them in the freezer to eat on as I need meals. However, I ended up having, something happened with our electric bill, and that's a bill that I'm responsible for, and they took almost $500 out of my bank account, and I had other bills due. So I don't really have money for grocery shopping anymore this pay period. I have enough to get the essentials, milk and eggs and things like that, but to do like a full grocery shopping meal prep trip is kind of not in the budget for me anymore because that happened. And that is very realistic. That happens to people. Having an unexpected expense, whatever that looks like, you need a new tire or something breaks, you have to replace something, you have an unexpected bill, whatever, that happens to people all the time. This is why being a homesteader is so great. I can't afford to go to the grocery store and spend the amount of money that I am accustomed to spending. I have, between my homegrown, home-canned food, my overflow stockpile down in the basement, my deep freezer, my upstairs freezer, what I have to go through in the fridge, I have more than enough food in my home currently to feed Tom and I for the next 2 weeks. More than enough. And not even like ramen noodles, like really struggling. Like I can make real good healthy meals still just with the food that I have currently. And so that's another reason, because a lot of people akin homesteading to prepping, and it is similar. I'm not necessarily prepping for the apocalypse or anything crazy, but even just a situation like this where I don't have as much money this pay period as I originally thought that I would, I'm okay food-wise. I'm still able to put hot meals on the table and provide for myself and my husband, and that's an excellent reason to get into this if you're looking for reasons. So I just wanted to mention that, and the reason I brought it up with the butternut squash soup is this was originally going to get put away for a later use. Not anymore. We're going to eat this week. I had already purchased these things. I already had all the ingredients. I had planned on making it for the video, and guess what? We're going to eat this week, and this is one meal that I can scratch off the list and not worry about or stress about, and I don't have to buy anything from the store for it. So overall, I think that this whole preserving day was a huge success. As I'm filming the last little bit of it right now, I'm thinking about the massive amount of editing that I have to do to make this video. So if you're listening to me right now, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I put a lot of work into it. I really enjoy this kind of stuff. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm getting better at this kind of thing. So I thank you for coming along on this journey with me. If you want to see more food preservation videos like this in the future, there will be many, many more to come. And I can't wait to see you in my next video. So, please consider subscribing if you haven't, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a great day. Bye.